Hey there, students. Mr. Wolf here, and we are here to talk about the Seedfolks journal and to just go over what that process is going to look like. Now, in regular classes, right, in classes where you're actually at school, you've probably had a time where you've been reading a text and using a journal to track characters or to answer questions and even vocabulary and things along those lines. So that's kind of the process we're going to be going through here, but obviously in a digital venue because we're, virtual school. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that's going to look like for you. Right off the bat, there is a table of contents, and there are 4 parts we have broken this up into, and there are 3 characters per part, so a total of 12 chapters, okay? And in those chapters, we are in this table of contents, we have a link for each character that will lead to their page, so there's there's an easy navigation through that table of contents. It's not just there to look pretty. You can actually use it functionally to get to the section you need. You'll notice also that we have a list of the vocabulary, some PEA resources, and then there's a notes page. If you want to have any notes or you just want to track some insights that you have to each character or each chapter there, you can use those notes page for that as well, and you can extend them as you like, okay? Now, on our next page, we have a welcome page, and that welcome page is for you to fill out. So your name, a picture of yourself, a quick bio about yourself, and then some communities that you find yourself in. Now, that isn't just simply your neighborhood or your city. Think of your communities as the organizations and the groups that you find yourself in. So maybe that is a church community. Maybe that is a community, a sports community, or an online community, a gaming community. So where do you find, your social network? Where do you find your groups? So that's what you're going to be putting there, and you can just list them off. No crazy explanation needed there, but that's just kind of start to engage with this text. This is going to be a text where we get these narratives from different characters that are all in the same community, so it's something just for us to start thinking about and engage with. Now, there is a resources page as well. We have the Seedfolks digital text there. We also have an audiobook. Now, the audiobook will include a chapter we're not reading. It's not in the digital text, but it's there in the audiobook. We're not reading that. By all means, if you wish to read through it, that's fine. We're not asking you guys to or asking any questions about it, okay? Now, there's a couple other resources, including about the author, a conversation with the author, and then an NPR interview with Paul Fleischman, the author. And all those, again, are just help give us a little bit of context. Now, when we go into the next section, you'll notice that part 1 has our 3 characters from that section, and you'll notice also that this little tab turned purple. You actually can navigate through each one of those tabs that way as well when you have the presentation going, so you can look through that section that way, okay? Now, as we go into this tab, you'll see that there is a bio for each character. So there's the age, the ethnicity, and a variety of things to fill out there. Now, the age and ethnicity may be something that's a little bit tricky to find, or you may not have a concrete number for age. But you can look at context clues to identify as a person who's elderly, young, where are they, or they may just give you some hints based on like details they're giving. Ethnicity also may be one of those situations where you don't necessarily know until someone mentions that character later, or they say, oh, I saw them in the garden or something like that, and there's details there. So some of the details of these bios may not show up in that particular chapter. I know it's a little obnoxious, but for the most part, you'll be able to fill a lot of this out. The character, briefly describe them, like what do we know about them, what kind of person do they seem to be based on the details in their narrative and their voice. Why this person gardens, okay? Now, not everybody necessarily gardens. Sometimes people contribute to the garden or they're just involved in it. So that question might change with a couple of characters. But what are they doing it for? What are they getting out of it other than plants, right? Because everybody had a reason to go. And that's kind of part of their narrative. Then the contribution to the garden, that's literally what do they plant, but it could also be actions. It could be a contribution they're making beyond simply planting things. And you'll have a number of characters who contribute in different ways. And then, of course, the impact on others. How does this character's role in the community and in the garden impact other people? And again, that might be something we don't see initially. We might see that later on. So Kim is our first character. We don't really get to see what her impact in the community is until we get into the next set of chapters and even beyond that. And then there's the obvious of, well, she starts the garden. Spoiler alert, but anyway, there's other things going on there as well. Okay, now, these slides have a little bit more information, so I'm going to back out of our presentation, and whoop, there it is. Okay, so what we have here, real quick, is a couple of different sticky notes that you'll see that are outside of the presentation slide, but these are ones that you can access and you can answer questions on. So those questions there are per the character, per the chapter, and I'd like you to actually answer those questions robustly with a little bit of evidence as you can in that section, okay? And if you need to like go and modify a couple of sticky notes and things like that to answer questions, by all means, please do that. Otherwise, just make sure you're answering thoroughly and with evidence from the text as best you can. So from there, okay, we have a vocabulary list that goes with each one of those characters in each one of those chapters, okay? There are only 5 questions, or 5 vocabulary words, not hard at all. So we're asking for definitions, parts of speech, and a synonym or 2 that goes with it. And then we have a little activity for you to do as well after you find those. A story or an image using all of those words, or images using all of those words. So if you're going to write a story, try to write a story using all those words. It's not meant to be a test of how short can I make a story with all those words. Make sure you're using them in context. Make sure you're using them properly and in a way that like a reader might get some context clues to what they mean. And then the images, you want an image per word. You only have to do either or, by the way. But make sure if you're putting images that you're adding maybe a caption or something like that for each word so we know which one it is, okay? So you're going to be doing that for each one of the chapters. Every single chapter has its vocab list, okay? And again, there's a link down at the bottom. If you click on that vocab tab there, it'll take you to all of the words. Now, here's Anna's, and she's got her list too, Wendell's, and then he's got his list 3. And at the end of every single section, you will see kind of another additional activity. This is something I would like you to do. What you're going to be doing is, usually it has a link to it. So this one is a poem called Community Garden. And when you open that link, it'll take you to that poem. Read through the poem and just answer those questions. It's kind of a cap to that section. Okay, so some of it might be specifically on the poem, and usually that final question is tying it into the story itself. Okay, so every single section has that. Again, we have 4 sections, so there's a couple of different things to do, kind of final activities for that for each section. And then as we go down to the bottom there. We've got our vocabulary list, and there are two pages for that guy, and then a PEA writing resource there as you need, and of course that final notes page that you can access as you need. Of course, that's all for you. We're not grading any of that part of it. It's just for your personal reference, or if you want to take notes to kind of remind you what was going on, which character is which, whatever. I mean, there's bios there, so that should be fine. So that's it. If you have any questions or you get caught up on anything, you know where to go. Miss Allison and I can help you respectively as you need. And thank you for watching. Have a great one, guys. Bye.